I've been here 17 years and the standards in primary school have declined in that time, you know, because your new intake of teachers are less able than those already on the job. It's just a spiral downwards.
Yeah, basically the project is doing capacity building for teachers. So through seminars, workshops, which are being conducted here at Mshiri Teacher Resource Center. We take teachers there to help us with the training of school committees, and also we link with the district education office and the school inspectors.
My idea is we're at all levels. We're at the grassroots with the teachers in the primary school, going right through to central ministry level, where I hope we might be influencing some policy. And that's what I think is needed, what I call the sort of sandwich, that you're squeezing from both ends. You know, if you sit in Dar es Salaam just dealing with the central ministry, then you don't necessarily know what the teachers really want or what their difficulties are, whereas we are sort of through the whole system.
Village Education Project is so special because it's working in the grassroots, in government primary schools. Other non-government organizations, they do work in secondary schools, universities and other places, but we are doing something to help the little ones who actually, there are many with lots and lots of problems.
Yes, the charity has done a lot of things because when the charity began here, the classes were not good, they had no textbook, they had no books, and some of the facilities were lacking. So the village education project tried its best to facilitate in terms of renovations of schools, and also trying to provide books for pupils, and as well trying to conduct seminars for teachers to empower them to do their work better. So village education project is trying to complement what the government initiatives to a very great extent.
There is nothing really that's run by the government for in-service training. And in fact, their pre-service training, to be honest, is not really adequate, doesn't really equip them for the job. And then they're left to it. And many of these teachers have been in service for years with no updates, no help, no support. So that's our main focus.
What actually the village education project has been trying to address, these issues were supposed to be done by the government.
A lot of people say, well, our government, the UK government, gives to the Tanzanian government, so why should we give to a tiny charity that then works within the government system? Well, the things that happen at the top with the major funding don't necessarily trickle down to local primary school level, or they don't really trickle into things that are that effective. We don't get large amounts compared with other charities. I mean, our best year was the year ending September 2009, when we got £142,000 for the year. And we've been, for the last few years, around about the £100,000 mark. We keep reserves because I'm scared. Maybe one year we won't get any money at all, and I'm a bit worried with this recession, what's going to happen the year we're in now. And we employ nearly 20 people here. Now, I know salaries here aren't nearly as high as the UK, but nevertheless, it's quite, you know, it's quite an amount of income. And they depend on that, so I keep at least a year's salary money in reserve in case it all goes, you know, pear-shaped.
The local community sees the project perhaps as a money spinner, and that's not the case. The money is donated by people from all around the world, mostly from the UK, and Katie does a very good job of making sure that money does get spent well. It provides employment for a couple of teachers. There's some staff at the vocational training centre that do a very good job and are paid well. The companies I've worked for before, money seems to kind of grow on trees. You know, we got a problem, we throw some money at it, and I very much prefer working like this, where we're faced to live with what we've got and you know, make decisions based on that, you know, and try and eat the most out of what we've got.
We are then also lucky in that we are operating in Kilimanjaro, And I think quite a few people who come to climb the mountain think they ought to raise money, partly for a local project, and I think they just look at the internet and find us. And we get quite a bit of money on that, especially for things like the Virgin Money Giving site, the Just Giving site, people raise on that. That's lovely, but of course we never know what's coming, so you can't plan. You know, one year might be brilliant. One year I had to go to Manchester to collect a cheque for £17,000 out of the blue, which was great. But you know, the next year there wasn't such a thing as £17,000 from people who climb Kilimanjaro. So it's very difficult to plan because we don't know what we've got coming in.
I think what separates this particular project, sets it apart from other projects, is the fact that it's clearly been successful as it's been running for many years now. It's become very well known in the area and highly respected as an education and tuition provider.
If you look at photographs from the very beginning, there's an empty classroom, whereas now they've got proper blackboards, they've even got window glass in the windows, and some of the schools actually have electricity, which, you know, elsewhere in Tanzania you just don't see.
It's the fact that I think, you know, they're very ethical, they're doing things for the community. Money isn't, they presumably don't get a lot of money for the project, and it's not going to other things, it's going into the schools, it's benefiting the community.
Education is something which helps people to grow, and it also helps them to understand the world in generally. So if you have a country of illiterate, then of course poverty will be eating them, because if they lack education.
You know, I think it's quite clear to people we are not in this for the money. You know, we're not in it as just to get the funding in and so what. You know, we really are, well, I'm passionate about the education of Tanzanians' children because they are bright children and a lot of them are just not getting what they deserve. Sometimes you do wonder, it's a bit like, you know, swimming in treacle, dealing with the government and the officials. And I think in my lifetime we'll never achieve what I want to achieve, which is to see these primary schools functioning properly and the children really getting a really decent education across the whole country. So that's a pretty ambitious thing, which I don't think is going to happen in my lifetime. But that doesn't matter. That's not a reason to give up, and it certainly wasn't a reason not to start. Is that I think, you know, we're slowly, even if you help a handful, it's got to be worth it. And we do see developments, particularly with children enjoying themselves, teachers enjoying their work a bit more. I mean, that's worth a lot to see that happen. As I say, even if it's only very few individual cases.
I think the most important thing in our anyway, I think, is how a person can be remembered. Most of the people, they die, nobody thinks of them anymore after a month or two, but I think if at all you do something good, something which everybody reflects something, then you'll be remembered forever that you did help this and this, which actually it's a praise of some sort, I think.
Mm.
Yeah.